Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here. So XX, I'm not even going to say the rest of his name, but here you guys have his name. Over on Twitter, has been making mind maps for a while. I also think that he has collaborated with Utility Theory over the years, and this is one that I've been looking at for a while. And if we actually look at some of these connections, they are still very, very clear today, especially through the Interledger Protocol, the Liquidity Hub, even R3 with SBI, Moha Loop. We're going to go over a few things in this video and really kind of address a few things that are happening right now. One of the biggest things I do want to take from this is the connection with R3. R3 is the big giant here. They are a private and public blockchain company, mainly focused heavily on institutions. There's a lot of connections with them, with even XDC as well. Now, with that in mind, let's dive into this tweet here from Moon Chaser 2020. So we've seen the big SBI news yesterday with on-demand liquidity extensions. And here we have SBI's Osaka Digital Exchange will start to trade tokenized stocks soon. The exchange will use blockchain technology and aims to offer trading services outside of the Tokyo Stock Exchange's trading hours. Now, this is SBI R3 Japan, and they're actually quoting the London Stock Exchange plans. This is with a digital asset exchange, a blockchain digital asset exchange, which I'm going to be doing a full breakdown on this and the connections with some pretty large names. So definitely stay tuned to that video later on today. But if we actually go over here, we do see London Stock Exchange plans blockchain digital asset exchange. The translated post here is the London Stock Exchange is planning a new exchange using blockchain technology. In parallel, in Asia, SBI will launch Osaka Digital Exchange and start trading security tokens soon. This is pretty big considering the fact that we've seen SBI expand rapidly through Ripple with XRP and then also with Zinfin and XDC. Again, connections are through the XDC and even the XRP bridge with R3 Corda. They are two settlement tokens within the Corda blockchain. Now, are they still utilized today? Are they still going to be focused heavily? In my opinion, yes, I do think that they are still exposed to R3. Now, within this, if we actually look at the London Stock Exchange news, we do see the direct quote here. The ultimate goal is a global platform that allows participants in all jurisdictions to be able to interact with people in other jurisdictions, completely abiding by rules, laws, and regulations, potentially multiple jurisdictions simultaneously, which is something that hasn't been possible in an analog world. Remember what I've said around regulations and acceptance around crypto. We are in a harmonization accelerated move, right? Like as we look at standardization and regulations, it's all to harmonize this space into the digital age because, you know, without harmonization, we see fragmentation. So as we look at this, right, like they want a global platform. Everything around this space is going to be a global platform. And this is all around regulated digital central securities. Remember what I've talked about with securities, right? They are a massive opportunity. And all of this is still in its early stages. But as we really kind of look at things that are going to be happening in the future, I think it's going to get very, very exciting because what we will see is DLT-based securities transactions and even stocks being tokenized and being transacted within DLT rails. This is a big game changer, and there's a lot of money locked behind this. Remember what I've said about securities transactions. They are worth quadrillions of dollars per year. The stock exchanges, right? Like the global stock exchange, over $100 trillion in value. It's insane. So this is very exciting, and it's very big. And also, another great mind map from the same individual. When we look at R3 and XDC and even XRP, you can see the direct connections here. And another big thing that I do want to mention here, right, is that the DTCC with R3 Project Ion, right? This directly connects with Swift. This is a big one. We don't know if this is going to have any connection with XDC or even XRP through SBI because SBI is the gateway. You need to make sure that you are paying attention to a lot of these names, like for example, Impul, right? That's a gateway to XDC, just like SBI is a gateway to XRP. These are all major collaborators, and this is what you need to be focused on because as we look at these networks are networks of networks. that are going to be underpinned by digital assets that are going to be settled within the platform. This is very, very exciting. And also remember, even over here, this is all around tokenization of the entire stock market. This is huge. Now, as we look at that, let's look into Swift. So do you see over here, Edward Farina? This is a questionable character in the space, but this video is not going to be, you know, a fake video or anything like that. I've looked over this video multiple times. I figured I would bring this up because I just recently found something very interesting from ISO 2022. Let's do it. And we do see Ripple is taking over Swift. Former member of Swift joined Ripple and admitted it isn't the solution for the internet of value. Brad Garlinghouse calls Swift a competitor developed over 50 years ago, slow and expensive. Check this out.
I think what we're doing and executing on a day-by-day basis is in fact taking over Swift, in that, you know, we've now signed up, you know, well over 100 banks. Some of the largest Swift-enabled banks in the world are now using Ripple's technology. I mean, just last week we saw a remittance company who's using Ripple's technology. They reduced the price per transaction to their consumers from $20 per transaction to $2 per transaction, and they saw an 800% increase in usage overnight. That's the type of dynamic that Swift isn't able to support that we're able to address right now. And
one of the former board members of Swift, a gentleman, Marcus Treacher, joined our team to run all of customer success. And, you know, this was, you know, a former board member from Swift coming over and saying, hey, we don't think Swift's going to be necessarily a solution to really unlocking this internet of value. These are, you know, marks along the journey.
Now, here we have, of course, a few little memes around the XRP takeover, and here is the last video type.
Now, Swift, I mean, Swift is kind of a competitor. It's slightly more complicated than that because Swift is really just messaging. When you send a Swift transfer, it's not liquidity. You're actually sending bank messages to banks that have liquidity. So, to some degree, Citibank and HSBC, really the top two, JPM, those are the top three liquidity banks. And when you're sending Swift messages, you're sending messages to banks to release liquidity and making sure the debits and credits match. So to some degree, really boil it down, Ripple's competing with the liquidity of Citi and the messaging of Swift, but in one, because we're both messaging and liquidity. And at the end of the day, you know, again, as I described, you know, Swift was developed 50 plus years ago. It architecturally hasn't really changed. It does remain slow, it remain, you know, days. It does remain, relatively speaking, expensive. And actually, interestingly, it's quite error prone.
So yeah, I mean, as we look at Swift, obviously we know that there's a lot of problems with it. They need to really kind of innovate or die. Ripple has them backed into a corner, essentially. Swift could at some point in time utilize Ripple and XRP. We know that David Schwartz actually mentioned this. That would be the dream scenario because 11,000 instantly, 11,000 banks could be utilizing Ripple and XRP. Now, also, what do you see over here? You probably heard this quote, flip the switch is for real. David Schwartz said in the past, once market is ready, there's a switch that can be flipped. Check this out.
In the XRP ledger, and you can handle real money with it. You don't have to. But you have a switch that you can flip whenever you're ready to handle real money. And then when you're arguing that that feature should be included in the XRP ledger, you have something that you can show that.
And that is the real flip the switch moment. And you know what's funny? Look at this. Talking about Swift, talking about the idea of Swift utilizing Ripple and XRP. We don't have full confirmation, but look at this from ISO 2022. Let's do it. Swift activation setting. The Swift 2023 functionality can be activated via central switch. The new functionality can be switched on, switched off in the application, allowing to view and test the functionality before the activation date in November of this year. Now, again, I don't like to be tied to dates, but I think that this is very interesting. Listen, I don't believe in coincidences, but what we are seeing, David Schwartz mentioned here, versus what we are seeing in this article, it's really similar. I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but it is pretty much word for word what he just said. And we don't know if that's going to be the case if they're going to use XRP, but this would be the real flip the switch moment. And again, I think that this is probably going to be the case. I think that, you know, Swift will be dominated by digital assets because there's absolutely no way Swift is still around in the next 5 years if they're not utilizing blockchain and digital assets. There's just absolutely no way. And remember, Swift can't make an XRP. I know that that's going to be a question from a lot of people, like, why doesn't Swift just make an XRP token or something similar to XRP, right? They tried it. Nobody wanted to utilize it because it was centralized. They want a decentralized currency. They don't want to utilize centralized currencies. This is why XRP in the long term is going to always win. It is something so crucial to mention. It is something so crucial to understand as well. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join for Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Peace out.